Welcome to The Glitter Effect, a podcast dedicated to shining a light on the movers, shakers, changemakers, and all-round living legends of our communities who are making a real difference. Today's guest on The Glitter Effect is a woman who is proving that when purpose meets action, incredible things can happen. Dionne Payn is the founder of Women for Homes, which is a movement that brings together women who want to create real and lasting change by helping address one of Australia's most pressing challenges, housing insecurity. Through Women for Homes, Dionne is empowering women to use their skills, networks, experience and influence to help more Australians access safe and secure housing opportunities. But what I really love about Dionne's story is that she isn't waiting for someone else to solve the problem. She's taken her expertise and she's built throughout her career and is paying it forward in a way that creates opportunities for others. She is a shining example of glitter royalty because she understands that every one of us has something valuable to contribute, and that meaningful change often starts with ordinary people deciding to do something extraordinary. So settle in and prepare to be inspired by a woman who is leaving a glitter trail wherever she goes. Welcome to The Glitter Effect, Dionne Payn.
Oh, thank you. I think glitter is actually one of my most favourite things. I love dressing up sparkly. I just love it.
A woman from my own heart. It's quite divisive though. I've had some really bad glitter craft projects over the years, so
Yes.
it's very divisive. But I am a big fan of wearing glitter. Don't you worry. Welcome to The Glitter Effect. I'm thrilled to have you on, and I can't wait to unpack your story. So let's jump straight in and tell us who you are and what your story is and a little bit about your background and to where you've got to today.
All right. So, that's big. I grew up in the UK, and I get a sense that you did as well.
I certainly did.
Yes. And yeah, I had a good life, raised eldest of 6 children.
Wow.
Yes, wow. Was always entertained in one way, shape or form.
Yep.
But I, did all the right things. I went to uni and I went to, did my master's, met my husband, and then came to Australia.
Yep.
And that was just phenomenal because I was able to study over here. I got a scholarship to study over here, and that gave me enough points to stay. And I've never really looked back. I love my family in the UK, and I love going back to the UK every once in a while. But there's something about Australia that's just so. I just found this real sense of space and freedom, and just thought, yeah, this is definitely where I want to be. And also, when we first arrived here, and we weren't planning to stay, we were only going to be here for a year or so.
Yeah.
But when we landed in Brisbane, had a friend from uni that lived in Brisbane and showed us around. He took us to Byron Bay, and then I told my husband, we ain't leaving.
The sweet spot. I don't blame you.
But in all of that, like, I really had to start all over again. So, I was doing the student thing again.
Yep.
My husband was doing the student thing again. When we both finished and graduated, I went straight into having children because I was in my 30s by that point.
Yep.
Just property for us just seemed so far out of reach because we were on one income and, we didn't have a lot behind us in that sense. So that was where my interest was piqued into property. I figured that if I could understand how the game was played, I could play it and get what I wanted, which was a rural property with the chickens and the veggies and, all of that.
Yeah, lovely.
So that's kind of what inspired me to be involved in property in the first place. And, we did some property mentoring, property development courses, and met joint venture partners along the way. And we started off small. We started off with some small subdivisions and renovations. And then the turning point for me was seeing a block of vacant land that had development approval for 14 one-bedroom townhouses. And I looked at it and I knew how to do financial feasibility. So I did that and realised that there was a really strong business case for this particular block. It already had the development approval. All we needed to do was to find a builder and get it built.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I mean, and there was a whole lot of circumstances in the finding the builder and getting it built, but we did manage to get it built. And it turned out that it was an affordable housing project, and we were able to sell each of these 14 one-bedroom townhouses for an average price of $350,000 in an area where the median house price was $600,000. So I had friends that were able to purchase into that development. I saw the impact that that had on, you know, your traditional teachers and ambulance drivers and police who ordinarily would have found it quite hard to get a foot into the housing in the area.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about this is that that was in 2017, 2018.
Okay.
And I was looking at it as prices were unaffordable then. Little did I know.
Look where we are.
What that's going to be. Yeah. Yeah.
So just stepping back a little bit, can you just explain what affordable housing is and how that works? Is that something that you were aware of before, or you've learned along the way?
I've learned along the way, and I had no idea. And I'm really happy that you asked that question, because when we don't have the definitions, we kind of get a little bit off track. So the definition of affordable housing, according to the New South Wales state government anyway, is that it's housing that is no more than 30% of somebody's income.
Okay.
So I like to think of the median or the sort of average household income in, you know, let's say it's $100,000. 30% of that would be $30,000 a year on housing, no more than that.
Yeah.
Which kind of equates to a rent of around $650 a week. Now, there's not many places left where you can get a 3-bedroom home for $650 a week.
No.
So that's the challenge. That's what we're actually facing, not just in my local area, but all around Australia. So this has been brewing for a while. It's not anything new. But one of the key things was around the pandemic, where people realized, well, if I can work from home, I can work anywhere. I don't have to be tied to a capital city. And particularly when there were lockdowns and you know, sort of it was quite intense to be in cities. So a lot of people decided to do a tree change or a sea change. And so it meant that the coastal areas, the regional areas, prices went up really dramatically, which, you know, is good from one perspective for people that have moved away from, you know, just being chained to a desk, but not so good on another perspective for those who were already on the margins of housing insecurity and are still really struggling to find somewhere to live that's affordable. Yeah.
Okay. So knowing that then, what was the spark that led you into create what we now know as Women for Homes, which did you start, that was it last year? You've started that up officially? Yeah. Talk us through that, because there's a big gap between where we are today and back then. What was that, 2017, did you say?
2017, yeah.
So, yeah.
So to catch you up, in between that time, so between 2017 to 2020, when the pandemic hit, actually, I was doing other development projects, but not really enjoying it. I didn't really. There's something about property development where there's a lot of money at stake.
Yep.
A lot of things can go wrong. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of people to coordinate. And that's actually, you have to be quite detail oriented, which is not really my nature. My nature is more relational and, you know, having conversations. You know, put me in a cafe, having lunch, having a conversation with somebody, that's my happy place.
Yeah.
But, you know, sort of being on site and checking whether the builder has done exactly what he should be doing, that's not my happy place.
Yeah, fair enough.
The pandemic was actually really great for me to be able to just look at everything and go, this isn't working for me. And how do I exit this and what comes next? So what came next was a chance meeting with a developer who has been a great mentor and friend to me, and really shared the vision of creating affordable housing. So I decided to use my skills to support him in raising capital for his affordable housing projects. And so we did that, and I started a business called High Impact Property Investments. And that was really there to raise capital for developers that are creating affordable, sustainable, and inclusive homes.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. Um, it was, it's a going out there and raising capital isn't easy, and there's certainly
Mm.
times where it can be easier than others. But one of the things that I found was that the affordable housing crisis wasn't going away. In
Mm.
fact, it was getting worse. And then just recognizing that it was getting worse, and it was women that I knew, and women around me, women in my networks, women in my community that were really struggling. And I
Mm.
knew that it wasn't just me, it wasn't just this area. It was definitely happening in other areas as well. So it was a sort of chance meeting, I guess. I went to a branding retreat. And I thought it's going to be great. I'll get some marketing tips for my business, and I'll get some lovely new photos. That'll be awesome.
Mm-mm.
And so I went, and what I didn't expect was to be surrounded by women that were really interested in what I was doing.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and when I said what I was doing, they were like, "Oh, how can we get involved?" But at that time, the minimum investment that I was raising for was $50,000. And I knew that
Mm-hmm.
that was out of reach out of a lot of women in that group.
Yep.
And so I just, I couldn't really let it go in terms of, well, how do I solve this? And then it became really clear over the Christmas break what I needed to do. And I needed to set up Women for Homes and make it really accessible for women to be able to invest into the supply of affordable housing. So it's really about creating a solution where everybody can be a part of,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not just reserved for the wealthy few. And then the other aspect of it was I really wanted to understand why it was women over 55 that were so at risk of homelessness,
Mm.
and looking at the gender pay gap and the superannuation gap and what happens in separation and divorce,
Yep.
and the fact that it's often the women that are most financially vulnerable. And all of that compounds into not having as much super as you need to be able to retire. And therefore, that's why we're seeing a lot more homelessness. And so once I made that connection, I just thought I can't just focus on this side, increasing the supply, without addressing this side, why this is happening in the first place.
Mm.
The
Mm.
Women for Homes is really a platform where we have the education from the Financially Empowered Women podcast, which is where I bring on like really amazing women that are experts in lots of different areas around financial well-being.
Yep.
And so I interview them, and they share their wisdom, which is great. And then we've got the Women for Homes itself, which is empowering women to invest into affordable housing so that they can be financially empowered, so that they don't end up homeless in the first place.
I love it. And when I found out about you, Dionne, through our gorgeous mutual friend, Jules Brooke, I immediately reached out to you because I think it's really empowering. I think it's very clever what you're doing. And so the whole sort of goal that you've got is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is to have 1 million women to invest in affordable housing and to help end homelessness amongst women. Is that by 2030? Is that right?
It's to end homelessness amongst everyone by
Everyone. Okay.
2030. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
It's a platform for women to invest. It's a way of women being able to catch up on, you know, one thing I found out recently was that it was only in the 1970s that women in Australia were able to get a credit card and take out loans without their husband or their father's signature.
Seriously?
Seriously. And
Wow.
so when we think of how long we've had money in circulation for in one way, shape, or form, and
Mm.
to know that women have been excluded from that conversation for all of that time,
Yeah.
and to know that now a lot of women say, oh, well, I'm not very confident with money, or I don't know what I'm doing, or, I leave all of that to my husband. It's because we haven't had that length of time with money to get comfortable collectively.
Mm.
Obviously there's, women that are all over it and amazing.
Yeah.
But collectively there is this gap. And so Women for Homes really does exist to help close that gap,
Mm.
and then to avoid the downstream effects of that as well.
So why now, if it's been something that's sort of been chugging along for and becoming an issue, has been an issue, a social issue for so many years. Why do you think now is the time to push that button? What's empowering you to do that now?
Good question. Look, I think a lot, and so big picture, it's the right time in what's happening with the world. People are having the conversation, people are talking about it, and people are coming to the realization for themselves that it's not right. This is a sort of flag that I've been waving for some time. Even before Women for Homes, I've been working with charities that support women that are facing housing insecurity. And that was happening since the pandemic. So, you know, it's been more talked about in society. So there's more awareness of it. For women as well, I think that there's more of an awareness of something's not quite right and it's not getting better.
Yeah.
And everybody feels so busy and so, so just caught up in the day to day that nobody really not many people take the opportunity to sit down and just go, what is really happening at the moment?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the other aspect for me is that it's taken me some time to build my own confidence to be able to say, oh, look, yeah, great. Okay. I can lead this. I remember I started a charity in 2023 called Regenerative Housing Solutions. And the reason I started it was because I realized that if I didn't, it's just a lever, like it's just something that you can use as a way to create more affordable housing. Because you get tax exemptions, you get development concessions, you get access to philanthropic capital. And I thought, if we can bring all that together into an entity, then we've got a way of really creating affordable housing. This is so important. And then I just remember as I was sitting there, and it kind of came to me when I was sitting up in bed, and I just started to cry. And I was like, no, this isn't my task. This isn't for me.
Oh, bit
Somebody
too
has
much.
to do this.
Yeah.
So, there was that sort of doubt. Like, it was really clear I needed to do something. But there was that doubt of like, oh, little old me and little old Mullumbimby, what do I know? Who's going to take me seriously? So, it's been a process of building my own confidence to say, do you know what? Yeah, I've been thinking about this for a long time. For whatever reason, I can see the connections and I can see how this needs to unfold. And my gift is to be able to share that with other people and inspire them. Who am I not to? Like, if I have a gift and I don't do it, then what am I doing? What am I here for?
Wow,
So
that's
that's been the
powerful.
shift.
Yeah, that's great. And so what is the investment? Is there like a minimum investment from women that you're asking for? And how does that then, what's the process for the people investing and like their returns and we've talked about the social impact, but are there projects that you have got in mind in certain areas that you're invested in that you need that investment now for, or how's it working? Or are you just future proofing for projects? Talk us through that.
Yeah, okay. So my process, so when I started Women for Homes, back in January 2025, I was very gung-ho. I was like, right, okay, we're going to bring some women together and we're going to go ahead and invest and we're going to set up a funds management company and off we go.
Easy as that.
Easy. And then came the reality of, okay, well, it's not so easy to set up a funds management company. You need, which I knew already because I have already looked at that. But also there's a critical mass that you need of women, because setting up a fund like that is an expensive endeavor. And it has to be, because you're talking about having what's called an Australian Financial Services licensee. And that's somebody that's saying, look, I'm going to be responsible for all of this money that is invested. I'm going to make sure it's invested in the right way.
Yeah.
And then you've got insurance and that's expensive. So there's all of these expenses that have to be covered before you can even, say, okay, we've got a fund.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I needed to just approach this rather than trying to bite off more than I could chew, which I do have a tendency to do. I needed to approach this in a bit more of a step-by-step way.
Yeah.
So where we are at the moment is that we are building a co-living home for 6 older women. So I say I'm bringing the women together to purchase that together. the minimum investment for that is $5,000.
Mhm.
And what that means is when we bring the women together, once we've found the property, each woman will have a share in the property. So it's what's called a tenants in common
Okay.
way of buying a property. So you can
Yep.
do joint tenants or you can do tenants in common. So whatever proportion people put their money in is the proportion of the ownership of that particular property.
Right. Okay. Got it.
So that's our pilot project, and that's what I'm bringing women together for at the moment.
Mhm.
We're about halfway funded at the moment,
Oh,
and
wow.
so I've got a campaign that's happening to get that funding done by the end of June. That's my goal, which means that once we've done that, we can purchase a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom property, renovate it to create 6 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms. Each room will have its own ensuite, kitchenette, courtyard, hopefully.
Mhm.
It really does depend on what we can buy. And there'll be communal spaces as well. So there'll be a full kitchen, full lounge dining, and outside areas.
Mhm.
The homes are designed to be beautiful, affordable, and dignified because that's what I believe they need to be for women over 55. And
Nice.
I really do think of these are our grandmothers and our aunties. And,
Yeah.
when we think of affordable housing, it's really easy to think of, it's going to look like a ghetto. Not in my world.
Yeah.
So that's what we're creating. And with all of the attention and, I'm doing a lot on social media at the moment and also doing a lot with different publications and media publications. So with all of that attention on it, my goal is that it proves that this is something that is possible. It's easy to get,
Mm.
really good returns through investing into affordable and sustainable and inclusive housing. So once we have that as a pilot project and we've documented that, that's when I'm hoping that we'll have that critical mass that we can start the funds management company. And then we can be working with other developers there's some really awesome developers that are out there that are creating affordable and sustainable homes. Some examples are a developer who's looking to retrofit old apartment buildings in Victoria to make them more energy efficient and then rent them out at an affordable rent.
Ah.
Really cool.
Wow.
Another developer who is looking at doing projects where they can actually leave their profits in at the end of the build, which means that they can make it easier for people to purchase those properties because it's almost like they're acting as there's a bank and I'm not explaining this very well.
No, you are. No, you keep going.
Okay. So the way the terminology for it is called shared equity.
Mhm.
The developer is saying, okay, well, for anybody that can't get much of a deposit because they're renting and all of their income is going to their rent
Right.
rather than being able to save,
Yep.
we will spot them the deposit.
Okay.
So what that means is that homeowner can then go to the bank and get the mortgage and it goes on as normal, except the developer has a stake in that home until the homeowner can pay them out over time. So
Wow.
that's a shared
Okay.
equity scheme. So there are some really good developers out there, and there's definitely lots of projects that once we've got the funding and once we've got the fund up and running, these are the types of projects that we want to be able to support.
Which
And
is
so,
it's heartening, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people there's a bit of a stigma attached to property investors and property development, sorry, in that I'm not tarnishing everyone with this brush, but there's a stigma or an idea that everyone's in it to make $1 million and just build lots of units and stuff. But you're proving that's not always the case, and we shouldn't necessarily judge that on face value. It's nice and heartening to hear that there is a soft side, and that's what makes the world turn, isn't it? It's nice to know that there's nice in it too, as well as people personally investing. There's nothing wrong with that either, doing their own thing. But it's good to see there's a little bit of a social side to it too. What's one of the biggest common misconceptions about housing insecurity in Australia that you found since you've started on this huge journey and trajectory you're on?
a couple of things spring to mind straight away. One is that affordable housing is ghettos.
Yeah.
And I think that that's why there's so much NIMBYism as well, because people think, oh, affordable housing, it's going to decrease my house price. I don't want it.
Yeah.
And I think that people aren't really recognizing that it's not just them that they have to consider in that decision to oppose something or support it. It's also their future generations. It's their caregivers. It's their, the people that look after their children, the baristas. It's not just, we talk about affordable housing. It's not just the down and outs.
Yes.
It's something that's affecting everybody.
Yeah.
And then another misconception is that you can't make good returns through ethical property investing. And I find this really fascinating because I've proven time and time again, and I've, helped investors to prove it for themselves as well, that you can make really good returns. I wrote a book called Ethical Property Investing back in 2022. And the tagline was how you can make double-digit returns through investing in this way. And in my mind, it's really, and not just in my mind, in my experience, it's really quite easy to achieve returns of 10% per annum and above if you're really intentional about what you're doing in the first place. And so when in the book, I talk about the ethical framework, and it's basically if you include all of these different aspects, there's 7 different aspects, if you include them and think really deeply about them before getting involved into a property investment, then you maximize your chances of success in getting those kinds of returns. So yeah, those are a couple of the misconceptions that I can see. Another one I want to address is just around, people are, property investors in particular, are a bit worried about the budget and the removal of the capital gains tax and the discount and also, the negative gearing. I think, and not wanting to weigh in on that, I'm not an economist, so it's not, I'm kind of, I don't want to step outside of my lane in talking about this, but what I do see is that those policies have really favoured property investors at the expense of homeowners or tenants and that kind of thing. And I think if we look at property as how can we make it a win-win for everyone rather than extracting, and sort of making it a win-lose, I think that's certainly how I feel about property. It's like it can take care of everyone. It can be really transformative. It's important to be able to make a profit from property investing. And I'm not denying that at all. And it's that profit that keeps property investing sustainable, financially sustainable, but we can do it in a way where it's financially sustainable for the residents that are living there as well. And so everybody has a chance to move up and nobody gets left behind.
Nice. I really like what you're doing. I love it. But with all these things looking back, I mean, I know you're literally in your first 18 months and it sounds like you've already achieved so much, but obviously you've got a lot more to do. What have been some of the biggest challenges in those first 18 months? What hurdles have you had to get over? Maybe you've had none.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's been so easy.
So easy.
No, some of the biggest hurdles. Look, getting out of my own way, that would be one. That would be a really big hurdle. For some reason, and I think it's my nan, and bless her soul, she's passed on now, but she used to say, you have to work hard. Nobody's ever going to give you a break. You have to work harder than everybody else. And I think I've really embedded that.
Yeah.
So I work really hard. And I'm really learning that I can delegate and let others take the reins and, empower other people through what I'm doing in my organization. So that's been a big and ongoing lesson.
Which is a hard one when it's your baby.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
It's hard, but it's the fact that I can do lots of different things. And so then I think, oh, well, I'll just do it because it'll be quicker rather than taking the time to explain it. So a really good switch for me has been every time I need to do a task, I record myself doing the task and then I send that off to somebody else to do it. And what's really cool from that as well is that something happened the other day where one of my virtual assistants, she'd finished and I needed to get something done. And I was like, oh, look, I'll just go into Canva and do this thing. And it was really hard. And I just went, no, I'll just wait for Charmaine to do it, because otherwise it's going to take me all night to try and figure it out, and I don't have the time. So I'm getting there slowly.
Yeah, that's it. And then, and I think everyone can take a bit of that when you run your own business, or even in any kind of leadership. It's hard, isn't it, to just sort of let sort of go a little bit.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of that, what have been some of the proudest moments that you've had over the last 18 months?
Oh, there's been a few. One, I was talking to this beautiful woman last night, and she's going to come on as a co-owner in this property.
Yep.
And it was just, she had her kids, and her kids were running around, and her kids wanted to be on the camera. And she's, there was one point where she said something where I just laughed so hard, and it was just one of those mum conversations to a child where mum has kind of lost her tether, and she's like, "Now you behave," and "No, I don't want to see you doing that." And I just really got it, and it was a beautiful conversation. And like I said, she came on board, but it was just this, like, even in the messiness of human life,
yeah,
like, this is so important, and we can accommodate it all. So that was one moment. Another moment was, I write a newsletter each week for my, for people, women that are on my list. And I had a moment where I shared something about my daughter, and my daughter had run this event, and she put together an event so that she could raise money to go to East Timor with school. And I was sharing that, and that was like just a proud mum moment for me, because she said, one of the things that she said in her speech was, "I realize now that I can, whatever I put my mind to, I can do anything, and as long as I've got my community around me." And it was just
that's nice.
So
that full
nice
circle moment.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You're doing something right. That's
doing
good.
something right. And it was a lesson for me too, like, to hear it come out of my daughter's mouth. I was like,
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, you don't hear those often enough. I've got 3
No.
boys, and I certainly don't hear that. Not much anyway. So with the going back, I'm going back again with the project that you're currently looking for investors for. Have you got an area in mind or a place in mind for that?
Yeah, so it's going to be regional Victoria.
Yep.
I don't have a particular suburb yet.
No.
It's basically, we bring everybody together, we make sure we've got all the money ready to go, and then we can go shopping.
Yeah.
But some of the key features about wherever we choose is that it's going to be somewhere that's already established. So it's not in a new development where there's not even shops or anything like that. It's definitely somewhere that's established, where there's, within walking distance, public transport, medical centres, shopping centres, that kind of thing, where there's already a community that's there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just important that it is somewhere that is already established and can hold the women that are going to be there.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing as well out of all of that is when we're looking at who we're going to have to live in this pilot project, really about building the community before they even go in.
Yeah.
And so just making, because co-living is not without its challenges. You're talking about lots of personalities and being able to get on with everyone. Or not even, so that's why it's nice to have a mix of private space as well as communal space. But I just feel that if we're building the community in the first place, then we're going to have a home that's way more harmonious, and where women that are living there feel that they can thrive. I think that's really important.
That's so good. And with your vision for the future of Women for Homes, what does that look like for you as far as ending homelessness by 2030? What part do you think you want to play in that?
Well, I want it done. Like I see that, sat down one time and just did a little visioning, and I could really see us getting 1 million women together and celebrating all of that, and then the ripple effect from that, with lots of sort of satellite areas saying, yes, we've ended homelessness, and this is how we've done it. So with that vision, it's what's important to me is to make sure that everything that we're doing is documented so that other people can take it on as well.
Yeah.
I don't expect that we necessarily will end homelessness by ourselves,
Yeah.
but I can definitely see that we can share the blueprint and inspire other people to take that and run with that themselves as well. And what I love about what we're talking about and the vision that we have for Women for Homes is that there's the sort of practical aspect of it. Yes, 1 million women, that would be $5 billion. That provides leverage. You get more money as a result of not just the $5 billion, which sounds like a big eye-watering sum anyway. But there's just that's the beauty of that. But then there's also the unseen aspect of it as well. It's I don't know, like it's all I can. The word that comes to me is magic and glitter. Actually, that kind of. Something happens where it just takes over itself and it's not any one person anymore. It's really about the magic and the glitter.
Well, it is. It's that ripple effect, isn't it? And it's exactly what this whole concept of the glitter effect is. It's what you've done, and it's that ripple effect and the trail that it leaves behind that then is very contagious and people pick up and run with it. And exactly, in essence, that's exactly what it is. So if you could wave your magic glitter wand, here's one for you, and change one thing about the Australian housing system tomorrow, what would that be?
Well, I would just give everybody a home straight away.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. And then my job's done. And I don't have to wait till 2030.
And you can put your feet up and thank you very much.
I probably wouldn't put my feet up though, knowing me.
No, that's true. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and this is the thing as well. Like we do have a supply issue, but we also have a usage issue. Like there's lots of homes that are being underused. And I think that, we just need a real mindset shift on, well, what assets do we actually have collectively and how can we distribute them more fairly? I think of, sort of older people who have big homes and want to downsize, but for them, the need is real. They want to and need to live somewhere within their community that is smaller, where they can thrive too. And because there's not that there yet, they can't move. So that home is a home for, a family with 3 kids. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's things like that. Like I feel that if I did have the magic wand, there would be a very clear, okay, let's evaluate what assets we've got and who needs them and how we can distribute them and how we can shimmy people around to get to where they need to be and still make it really joyful and fun.
Have there, question without notice, are there any countries across the world that have a model that you are looking to or inspired by, or is it bits of models from other countries?
Yeah, bits of models from other countries. So I think it's Denmark.
I assumed it would be a Scandinavian country.
Yeah, they do something where they have older people that are living in sort of aged care, and they have younger people, university students, and I think they give them free accommodation in exchange for hanging out with the older people. And the benefit of that is that you get that wisdom transfer, and you get the older people still with that sense of fun and vim and vigor, So there's things like that. And another one is Holland. And in 2022, I went over to Europe and did a bit of a recce, and I wanted to find out which countries and which organizations were doing housing really well. And one of the ones that I didn't get a chance to go and see, but I would love to have seen, was in Holland, where, they live, basically they live on the water and the houses rise and fall with the water.
Yes,
And I keep looking at that, just thinking that's a great flood mitigation strategy right there that we could certainly look at bringing on board over here in Australia. And I where I live was badly affected by the 2022 floods.
Yeah.
So, and it's still, even now, 4 years later, people in Lismore, for example, are still not adequately housed. So, things like that. And I do think that we need to look outside of Australia for solutions to be able to bring them in, because there's definitely things that are being done really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Slightly different question now. Who would you consider your own glitter royalty? Because you are clearly glitter royalty, but you didn't get there on your own. Who's inspired you or influenced you along the way? You mentioned your nan earlier.
Yes, my nan and my mum, like both women of service, and I've been very much inspired by them and shaped by them, I think. I would say the way I think about money as well. A lady called Lynn Twist wrote a book called The Soul of Money. And that is a really powerful book, and I'm definitely due another read of that. And Lynn used to work and sort of be the head of the Hunger Project.
Okay.
And so her role was in, seeing where the need was and then bringing the resources to be able to meet that need. So I've been very much inspired by her. Also, and there's the sort of the greats like Nelson Mandela and Martin Luther King, who believed in something so passionately and absolutely, and created movements around that. So I'm inspired by all of those.
It's a hard one because there's so many people that inspire everybody, but it's always nice to hear different things. Last one, super, super easy. If anyone listening wants to find out more or get involved in Women for Homes or find out more about what you do, where can they find out more and where do they go?
Okay, so our website is women4homes.com. That's women4homes.com.
Yep.
And very easy, join the movement. And we send out a newsletter each week on a Sunday. And there's lots of opportunities to come and play and hang out with us. So, yeah.
And it's not, it doesn't matter if people don't have the minimum amount to invest, does it? You'd be happy to hear from anybody with skills or knowledge, or anybody that's got a heart that wants to be involved. Is that right?
100%. And one of the things I say is that sometimes we get hung up on money being the only important resource. And actually it's not. We've got time, we've got skills, we've got networks and all of that. So anybody that feels drawn to being involved in whatever way, shape or form, as much or as little as they want, come along, come and join the party.
Amazing. Dionne, thank you so, so much for joining me on The Glitter Effect today. Our time has finished, but I know you will go on and do amazing things. You've given us a powerful reminder that creating change doesn't always require grand gestures, and I absolutely love that. I love everything you're doing. And sometimes it just starts with one person deciding to use their skills, knowledge, and connections to help others, and then inviting others to come along on that journey too. Your passion for creating more housing opportunities and your belief in the collective power of women to make a difference is truly, truly inspiring. You've shown us that we all have something valuable to contribute, whether that's expertise or advocacy or connections, time, or simply a willingness to care. I think sometimes we actually forget that too. And you mentioned it in our chat, that people just get busy, and I think you forget what you can offer. And while the housing challenge is very complex, this conversation has actually highlighted that there are meaningful ways each of us can play a part in creating solutions. So thank you so, so much for the glitter that you're spreading and for showing us what can happen when purpose, passion and action really come together. I wish you all the very best with what's to come, Dionne, and keep in touch. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a real privilege to be on the show.
Thank you for joining me, Kate Ganneil, on The Glitter Effect. If you've loved this episode, be sure to subscribe, share it with a friend, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep showing up, making an impact, and sprinkling that glitter wherever you go. Bye for now.